Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Yuka, this is Trove, and welcome to episode number 4 of Trove Beyond Basics. Before we get started, I just want to give a little prequel or a little audio over this recording and let you guys know that I'm recording this audio in post for a couple reasons. I'm doing this so that I can get better video quality on my end by editing, and I can also change the audio volumes and the mix-up of how everything is recorded. Anyway, if you're enjoying this series, please go ahead and let me know by giving me a thumbs up, leave a comment below. That would be super awesome of you guys. If you have anything to add to this video as well, by all means feel free to let other people know down in the comments below. And if you're liking this series, by all means feel free to subscribe, because there is definitely plenty more coming your way. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. I'm putting this video together just because there's a lot of people out there that are coming to the game and they're new and they've heard about the Shadow Towers. They're currently in Uber Worlds, or they're working their way up to Uber, and they want to know what the Shadow Tower is all about. So basically, those of you that are new to the game and are hitting Uber Worlds, you will be picking up Shadow Key Fragments, or Shadow Fragments. They are the item that's used to craft Shadow Keys, which are used in the Shadow Tower to unlock Shadow Chests. That might sound a little bit confusing, but it's really, really simple. You'll see in just a few seconds what I'm talking about. But a quick side note here, you'll notice that I'm on floor 3 fighting the vengeful pinata god, and I've pulled him over into a corner. I'm doing this for 2 or 3 reasons, really. One, because I'm solo and I can keep track of where he is. It just makes things a lot easier. 2, because when he spawns all of those little jelly pinatas, or gummy pinatas, whatever those little baby things are that you can see there, a lot of them will spawn outside of the playable area through the wall, and it just kind of helps me as a gunslinger stay kind of in control of the fight, because the lasers that they shoot will knock me from side to side if they hit me. So it's just really a time-saving exercise on my part. And 3, I pull him over here because as I kill the pinatas, little mini pinatas that he spawns, every so often when I kill something, one of my gems has a passive that triggers where I get a fire circle surround me, and it makes it really easy for me to kill a couple of those, proc that, go down to the ground, kill all the rest of them. Like, I think I do it right here actually. Yeah, so you'll see me just literally run through these things, shooting them and killing them. Then I'll jump back up into the air and pull him into the corner again. It just helps me from getting shot too much, and it just makes the whole process much faster. Anyway, now that he's dead, you'll see that my shadow chest is right here. I use left on my D-pad just to trigger it, and that's how you open a shadow chest. Obviously, you have to craft the shadow key first before you can do that. And don't do what I used to do when I started running Shadow Towers. I would pretty much always forget to bring my shadow keys with me, so I'd have to kill one of the bosses, go through the portal, go into my personal chest like I am here, grab my shadow keys, then go back through the portal, back to the chest, open it, and then go to another floor. So the reason I'm just doing a couple floors, or I just have a couple floors in this recording, is I wanted to save some time in this video. I didn't want you guys watching like a 30-minute long video of me just talking about the Shadow Tower endlessly. I know that the sound of my voice droning on may not be the most appropriate or most entertaining thing all of the time. So I just have the last 2 floors pretty much in this recording, so there's a little bit less content, but I can simplify the whole thing for you. You'll notice there too that the Fey Pixies, or the Fey Fairies that spawn there, I try and go for the one that has range as a gunslinger, because when she shoots you, she kind of knocks you around a little bit. I try and go for her first just to get rid of her, and the other mobs will follow too. So as you shoot down as a gunslinger, you tend to kill most of the mobs off and her at the same time, if that makes sense. It doesn't always work because it's a little hard to aim precisely on console with this. It tends to just sort of hit roughly where you're aiming, but if you aim in the general vicinity of where she is and try and dodge and roll or kite her little spell that she shoots at you, she's pretty easy to deal with. If you're doing it in groups, then that part of the actual wave is really easy. You just have one of the tanks or somebody else just run straight up to her and KO. It's super simple. So, those of you that are new to Shadow Towers, well, that was a little bit weird. The floor completely just, like, reloaded in there, a different color. Anyway, those of you that are new to Shadow Towers, they sort of work in two different ways. You fight your way from the bottom to the top. Every floor has a boss at the end. And after every section of the Shadow Tower, you'll go into a room like this, where there's usually a personal chest, a loot table, trading post, etc. So the room I was just in is pretty much just a wave clearing room where there's cursed skulls. You clear waves of enemies and then you move on. This one is kind of like a route through the dungeon, which kind of confused me as well because this is new and I'm not quite familiar with the actual layout of this new dungeon. I didn't realize that the hole, which you see me have some problems with in a second because I couldn't get through there, my dragon's too big. I didn't realize that the hole was right there and I could just drop down like that. So you have a dungeon that you have to sort of run through and then take care of enemies as you go. I tend to just run through them all, get to the cursed skulls, activate them, clear the waves of enemies, clear the mini-boss or the boss, and keep going. You'll probably see that a lot through this video, and you'll probably see that I proc my ultimate or my special ability and a health potion a lot, like this. I'm not doing that because I'm at low health. If you keep an eye on my health doesn't really go down too much. I'm a gunslinger, I usually stay in the air away from everything. But I do this because of the emblems that I have. And I'll cover emblems in another video, but basically the emblems that I'm using every time I consume a health potion give me, I think, 300% or 200% magic and physical damage for 2 or 3 seconds. So it just gives me a huge damage boost for a few seconds. And that fire circle there that I was talking about earlier, while skilling the Pinata God, is a passive from one of my gems when I kill an enemy. It has a chance to proc that, which is kind of like, I think, the Necromancer? I'm not entirely sure. There's one of the characters that has that as like an actual ability. It's kind of useless for the gunslinger, but it's just one of those semi-decent gems that I got which has a passive like that. So every time I trigger it, I tend to try and make use of it. Anyway, I digress. So back to what I was saying. There's dungeons that you kind of run through and clear mobs as you go, and then there's dungeons where there's cursed skulls and you just fight an endless sort of wave of enemies. Really, really simple. 9 times out of 10, as soon as you go through that portal, you can tell exactly what kind of area you're in, and depending on whether you're running solo or with a group, you know how to play it. So, you'll see here in a second what I'm talking about as well when it loads in. Bum, 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 bum. Come on, load in. I think this might be the section where it took a while to load in. No, I'm not sure. There's a section in this video where it took a while to load in. So this is just a Cursed Skulls wave clearing exercise, pretty much. And you'll see here that I try and go for that waffle iron that shoots those muffins at me first, but I couldn't kill it first. As a gunslinger, that tends to be what I try and focus on. I try and focus on the ranged units or the ranged enemies first before I take on the rest of them. It doesn't always work, but it's kind of a good idea in my opinion to focus those, as they're really the only things that can do damage to you, and they're really annoying when they don't do damage to you, or when they do damage to you, because they end up moving you when they hit you. So you can see him over there. I'm sort of working my way over to him. There we go. And I've pulled the other mobs over. That's just a really basic tip for doing Shadow Towers, because it can get really annoying on your own trying to clear these waves of enemies and end up getting pushed out the way, and it ends up taking like twice as long, 3 times as long, just because there's something that constantly keeps moving you and you miss a lot of shots. Or those of you that might be lower levels or don't have very high health may end up taking a bit of a battering from that, because it gets really frustrating. It can totally throw your game off. So I'm just going to clear these waves, And I think this is the last area on this floor before the Lunar sister, Lunar goddess, whatever she's called, I totally forget. And you'll see that I end up getting a Lunar Soul from her too, which is something else I wanted to cover in this video. Every week, the Shadow Tower resets, and you can get a Lunar Soul from her. And the Lunar Souls are used for a multitude of things. They can also give you gems from the rewards at the end. You can also get tomes. You can get mounts, etc., etc. You'll see at the end of the video. I'll probably cut the audio and just let that run through. The way I like to do the end boss here, this Lunar sister, Luna, whatever she is, I just run in with the dragon, shoot the skulls, and then pretty much just proc my ultimate, hit a health potion, and lay into her from above. She literally doesn't touch you as a gunslinger, ever. As long as you stay above her, and then move around some of her abilities, she literally cannot touch you. There's a section in here where I purposely let her hit me, because I didn't want to have to keep jumping. And it just shoots me to the roof, but does literally no damage. I could probably stand there on the ground at level 23, I think I am, and face tank her, and she would be doing pretty much next to no damage. I might have to pop some health potions just to maintain a certain health level, but other than that, she gets really easy when you've run this a few times. If you're running this in a group, I would highly recommend that you have somebody that's a tank go in immediately on her after she spawns, depending on how you want her to spawn. Or you could have your tank run to the Cursed Skulls and spawn her immediately so that she attacks that person first. Then I would recommend that you sort of spread out in a triangle pattern, so you have one guy in the middle tanking, one guy above her, and then two to each side, sort of semi-below, so that if she does change focus and attack somebody else, she has to turn a long way, or move a fairly long way, to actually do that. So if you had a gunslinger directly above, or a gunslinger to the side attacking, you had a neon ninja and a knight right up close attacking her, and then maybe a ice sage attacking her from range, she would have to turn to focus those range ones, and she would have to turn quite an amount. And if you're on the ground attacking her and you're either side, she has to do a full 180 to attack, if that makes sense. So it slows her damage per second down if you're struggling to fight her as a group. So she's nearly done. I think I just move her out the way of all these purple clouds that she spawned. And I think in a second, this is where I let her hit me so that she knocks me all the way up to the ceiling. I'm not too sure. Maybe I missed that. I wasn't paying too much attention to my video. I just wanted to get that information out to you guys. I was focusing more on talking. Come on, die. Daughter of the Moon. I'm sorry, that's what she's called. I knew it was something different to what I was saying. So there you go, that's it. Really, really simple. You'll see me open the shadow chest as well. Like I said, don't be like me and forget to take your shadow keys with you, because you'll have to run through the portal and then come back just to open that chest. And there you go. I have my Lunar Soul, and I've completed my Shadow Tower, I guess, assignment for the week. You can run it as many times as you want, solo or in a group. Over here is the Shadowy Market, where you get to buy stuff from the rewards you get. So there's the Empowered Gem box that gives you Empowered Gems, which requires 1 Lunar Soul. The gems that you get from it are usually pretty good, but I would not bank on getting the gem that you want every single time. It's kind of a hit and miss. If you don't have any Empowered Gems in your socketed gem slots, definitely, the first time you do this, go ahead and get one of the, use one of the Lunar Souls for that, because you will get a fairly decent gem, and it will skyrocket your skill power no matter what. You can see that the one I got is not particularly good, and I already have that space socketed anyway and filled. So I'm actually going to throw it in the loot collector, along with all of this other stuff. Yeah, there we go. When you deconstruct the Empower Gems, you'll actually get 1,000 gem dust, and you'll get one of these empowered gem fragments, which you can use to make more gems. So anyway, guys, that's going to leave it here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, give a thumbs up, and if you want to stay up to date with the series, go ahead and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one.